Hello and welcome to what is by far the most impactful video in this entire series. Getting the car designed, built, and driving was child's play compared to what is to come. Please flee the YouTube algorithm by giving the video a like. If you want to see more like this, click subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. If you want to chip in on my expenses, I now have Patreon and YouTube memberships. This is where we get to interact with the Spanish government on whether the car meets the requirements for a car on the road here. If they approve it, I'm good to drive it like any other car. If they fail it with no recourse due to a major issue, I'll just park it and figure out if I should roll it into the med, sell it as a parts car, or, donate it to a local museum as a cautionary tale for those who may follow in my footsteps. Let's set the scene. You may not know, but every country has its own unique set of rules for what must be on a car, what could be on a car, and what cannot be on a car. Making a car that's capable of following the sum total of these rules around the world is literally impossible due to contradictory standards. This is why automakers build several different versions of the same car with different features. Most notably is whether the steering wheel is mounted on the left or the right side of the car. And there are 1,000 other details. The term homologation is used to show that the car has been approved by the relevant government or racing series authorities. Some companies choose not to sell a car everywhere just to avoid these issues. But if a company really wants to sell worldwide, homologation is very challenging. Luckily, with the advent of cars becoming rolling computers, country-specific software settings can lead to the same hardware passing homologation across many countries. Now, back to my car. It's what car collectors call a one of one. It's a classic 51-year-old car with a massive drivetrain modification, both of which are red flags for passing the technical inspection process in any country, but especially Spain. When I lived in Thailand, it wasn't an issue because it's illegal to import a used car into Thailand without literally cutting it into several pieces, declaring them as car parts, and then re-welding the thing back together. So the 914 stayed in storage for 10 years. When I read that Spain allows both electric conversions and the import of used cars, I was thrilled that I could actually get her on the road again. But as with anything I found here, the devil is in the details. Searching on the internet, I found a guy called Michael with a company called Covered Legal, who, among other expat-related tasks, imports cars into Spain with a turnkey beginning to ending service. When I contacted him and gave him the story, he said it's impossible. Both the registration agency and the inspection station are going to look at it and just say no. But he says he likes a challenge, and he likes getting paid for a successful outcome, so we press forward. It was my job to ship the car to Spain, get it through customs, and send it to his village south of Alicante. His job was to get a certified automotive engineer to review the car's documentation and components and write a report listing the details and, in the end, certifying that the car is potentially good for the roads here. The first two engineers declined the job, but he found a third that was also up for the challenge. Then, Michael takes it through his trusted local ITV inspection station, where they check against the strict specifications and tests that cars routinely go through here. My subsequent job was to make any changes or repairs that the inspectors failed the car on in conjunction with a local automotive garage. The good news is when we get the fail list after the first inspection, that's all we have to focus on to pass the next time. They don't do a full review of the entire car again and potentially bring up new issues. So With all of that in mind, we kick off this video with both me and the car making our separate way to Los Dulces. Be warned, you are going to see me go through a roller coaster of emotion as this process plays out, but I'm not going to spoil the ending here. The car could be quietly cruising through the Barcelona sunshine right now, or it could be rusting at the bottom of the Balearic Sea. Okay, I just got off the taxi when I abandoned the bus because it was a nightmare. This apparently is where I'm staying. It's a holiday apartment style kind of thing. People come here in the summertime. The beach is only 3 kilometers that way. My workshop is about 3 blocks that way, so it's really convenient for me to walk back and forth. And apparently the Brits are on holidays right now, or starting. And then in June, the Spanish school system lets out, and then the place is just flooded. But right now, it's really nice and quiet. Well, I found the car. It's tucked into this parking garage next to the workshop, and it's very dusty, but appears unmolested by the rest of the trip. So all I have to do is try and power everything up and see what happens. And yes, 12 volts powers up, the main Tesla battery pack powers up, and the motor spins. We are in luck. Nothing has been destroyed on the journey over, and it wasn't stolen or towed away. So now I've got some things to do. I need to change this to a red bulb with a switch on the dashboard that means it's a rear fog light. This is a big thing in Spain. You will fail without this. I also have to uncover the VIN number, which has been painted over right there. And I need to disable the side lights and some other lights in the rear because Spain doesn't like those either. So that'll be my job for the next couple of days. And then we will take it on a flatbed truck to the inspection station. I was told by Michael, my import guy, that if I drive this even out there on the road around the block, the police will, if they see me with no Spanish license plates, no inspection, and no insurance, they will impound it and I will never ever see it again. So I'm trying to play by the rules. Wish me luck. Well, I'm back home after day 1, and I booked myself into this pretty cool holiday apartment complex. You can see the sea right there. It's about a 3-kilometer walk, and there's apparently a little beach. So if I have an off day, maybe I'll head down. But after what all happened today, I'm going to go down to the pool and have a little dip and relax. And thankfully, there are no screaming children. I must be before the heavy-duty tourist season starts here. Well, I am a slightly not as angry as I was before camper. So one of the things that happened when I was doing the review is the horn didn't work. So that can be any number of things going wrong in the old electrical 12-volt system of this 51-year-old car, and it's getting on my nerves. So with a lot of internet research, I worked out where the signal comes from the horn button through the relay and drives the horn. If I sent 12 volts to the horn directly, it beeped. If I grounded this terminal on the relay, it beeped. So the only wrong thing is this wire through the switch to ground. I took the entire steering column apart, and the wire from the horn touches this thing as the steering wheel rotates, which is connected to pin 3 of that connector. This is the connector. This is the thing I hate most on this car. The way this connector goes down inside the steering column comes out and connects to this connector or the other small one up inside here. This is ridiculous. So, what did I find? As I did before, I thought, okay, maybe one of these pins is bad. The little socket for the pin. Where did it go? For the pin. So I'm looking in here. I trace it. Pin 3, which is right here, wasn't even in the socket and visible. It had been pushed up and out of the plastic of the connector and was hanging in space. That's where the fault was. I played around with these connectors so much, I hate them with the fire of 1,000 burning suns. Now I get to put this all back together again and make sure pin 3 is shoved forward and making contact with that pin right there. This has been 6 hours to track this down, find the problem, which is just bad quality control by Porsche and bad engineering with the design of this connector system. Thank you. Okay, it's Thursday morning. I just walked over to the workshop, only to be told they're kicking me out at the end of the day. They don't want to let me work here anymore on the car. They don't want to let me put the car up on the lift to do anything else. So here I am in this dark corner of the garage. It's a lot darker than it looks in the picture. The ceiling lights don't work, and I'm working by flashlight inside the car trying to fix the stupid connector problem I had yesterday. So this will be fun. I think what I'm going to do is when I get the horn fixed, we're going to go to the inspection station and let them inspect it and let them tell me what's wrong. If there's even the slightest possibility that I'm going to pass after making some modifications, then I'll continue this. If they say there is no way in hell you're getting this car into Spain, I'm going to give up. And I'm going to get it shipped back home to Barcelona, park it in my parking space, and decide how I want to live my life from that point. I thought about this a lot last night, and I just cannot get past this point of the inspection people letting me in or out, the inhospitality of the garage that I was told I was going to be allowed to work in, and a whole bunch of other things. I'm not going to trouble you with that now. I'm going to wait and see what the inspection station says. Yeah, here's the inside of the car where I'm trying to work. Let's turn on the flashlight. There. Can you see everything better? Okay, I just talked with Michael. He talked me back from the edge of the cliff. I got the horn working, but when I reassembled everything, the windshield squirter doesn't work, and it feels like it's shorting out to ground somewhere. Anyway, since they don't want me in the shop anymore, I'm going to take the car and drive it over to the apartments that I'm staying at. It has off-street parking right in front of the building, so I'm not going to be bothering anybody. They are checking to see if they can use their flatbed tow truck to take me down to the inspection station early next week. And that's because the last piece of paper that the inspection station is waiting on is my registration in the Padrón, or it's like the residence list in Barcelona. And I didn't bother to do that before because it puts me at risk for being taxed as a Spanish resident, and I've avoided that at all costs. But that was a hard requirement for the inspection station to even look at the car. So we're waiting for that. We submitted it on the website 2 days ago, but there's no telling when it comes back. It'll come to my email, so I just have to keep watching. And it's Thursday at lunchtime. On the off chance it comes today, we could take it to the inspection station tomorrow, but I'm thinking Monday or Tuesday next week. I get to keep paying for this apartment I'm staying in, burning money all the while in this quest. Now I know what Don Quixote felt like. Hey, wasn't he Spanish? Yeah, I think he was. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up for now. Well, another day, another fighting with the electrical system. I'm trying to get it so the side lights in the car don't light up. And I think that's this bulb right here that they're worried about, because that's the blinker. This is the light that comes on when you turn on the headlights. And this is the fog light that I replaced. On this side, reverse light, brake light, and running light combo, blinker, and side light. So I got to take that bulb out of this side too. And underneath here is a light that shines onto the license plate. So I got to pull that bulb and that bulb, and also take the wire off the connector that makes that light up. And similarly, in the front, here and here, and then also remove the wire for the running light that's in the front of the car. Spain hates running lights, and now it's my problem. Well, as you might expect, this side running light, which I've removed, is internally wired in this housing to this bulb right here. So if I pull the wire, both of those go out, and I can't do that. I hope they'll be okay with just removing the bulb, but I was told remove the bulb and disconnect the wire, but I physically can't. And I'm gonna leave it the same way on this side. Well, now we know why the windshield squirter stopped working, and it looked like it went on the 12-volt bus whenever I tried to do it. As I put the wires in, this got pinched, and the screw that goes through here very neatly sliced half of the insulation off of this wire. This is simply unbelievable. I gotta fix this. Okay, folks, this is where we're at, right? I'm in the parking lot of my apartment that I'm staying in while we wait for my paperwork to get done so we can take the car in for the inspection. I had to do the parking lights, and I got all that fixed, except this light right here lights up even when the wire is removed from the terminal, and it's the same filament as the blinker. So somehow there's a short between the 12-volt side light circuit and the blinker circuit. Then the brake light didn't work, so I had to take all of this apart to get to the switch and confirm that the switch does work, but the lights still don't. Then, you remember from before, the horn didn't work, so I replaced that. But in the process of doing that, the wires for the windshield washer squirter fluid broke. So I re-pulled those wires, and now when I put that back in, you saw how that wire shorted out. Now I had to take it completely out of the car to go and resolder that connection because it came loose. And I went to, because I'm against this car right here, I was going to move it over one space. I went to move the car, and the motor won't spin. The contactors are on, the laptop says everything is right, and I push the throttle and nothing happens. It's one step forward, 5 steps back on this thing, and I'm trying to do it in a parking lot in the sunshine in June. All I can do is just keep plugging away and try and fix things one by one. But every time I fix something, something else breaks. Well, I'm back up in the apartment. I soldered the wire for the 3rd time. And of course, it melted the plastic and completely screwed up the entire thing. But I think I managed to put some epoxy in there, and the switch actually closes and beeps the meter when it's supposed to. So I think I can get away with this. It's getting past sunset. I just reinstalled the stock assembly, and the squirter is now on constantly. It will not unengage. Something is stuck inside it. It will not go do like it did up there. I brought it down here and now it doesn't work. The brake lights are now on constantly after I reinstalled the brake switch. Well, welcome to Tuesday morning, folks, and I have walked myself back from the cliffs of destruction. I have some good news. Yesterday, I pretty much wrapped up all the fixes to the car. The windshield squirter works, the blinkers work, the side lights don't work. I don't remember all of the problems that I've been battling. Oh, and I also got the motor to spin because I hadn't fully pushed in the connector that controls the European charging, which I had to switch from the US charging controller board to the European charging controller board. And after I switched the wires, I hadn't pushed the connector all the way down inside. So I pushed it down and now the motor spins. Contacted my import guy, said, and this was like noon yesterday. I said, okay, car's it's as good as it's going to get right now. Let's just go to the testing center tomorrow. And he said, I can't do tomorrow. Let's do Wednesday afternoon. Okay, so I get to burn another 2 days waiting. So that's what we're going to do. Today, I'm going to make like Ken and beach. I can rent one of those little stand-up scooter things and zip down to the beach. One I went to last week, and then I'll go along and up a little bit to a new one that I found on the map. Find some Thai or Chinese ladies, get a beach massage with free exfoliation of the skin because of all the sand that gets ground into you as the massage is progressing. Anyway, so I feel a lot better about the whole situation. We'll see what happens at the inspection tomorrow. It could be like, fix this wire, or it could be like, no, we don't like the new electric design at all, and this car is never coming into Spain. And then I get to take whatever action happens from there. So cross your fingers and wish me luck. And I'm going to the beach. Here's Friday, and this is the beach I'm about to go and hang out on. Can't do anything on the car. Waiting for this, waiting for that. Okay, it is Tuesday afternoon. I'm home from the beach, and what happened today was the man who owns the garage and also has the flatbed truck, last week he said, yeah, I can do that. Today he says, no, I can't do that because one of my mechanics is on holiday and the guy who normally drives the truck is busy doing other things. And he just canceled the trip to the inspection station. So luckily, my import guy found another one. The downside is it's 140 euros to go 20 kilometers and back, plus 35 euros an hour to wait while the inspection takes place. But yeah, I'm just, everybody's got me over a barrel, and I just got to pay whatever they say because I have no other choice. But luckily I had a nice day in the sun and a nice Chinese massage lady. So now I'm going to go and have a nap. Okay, we're about 10 minutes away from the flatbed coming to take the car to the inspection station. But it's Spain, so you never know what that actually means. And what the import guy explained was this vehicle was imported into Spain as essentially a piece of furniture. not a motor vehicle. And that's the only way it would be allowed to come in. If it was classed as a motor vehicle, it would have had to have a lot of other preliminary approvals done to it. Although after I insisted, the shipping company did put the VIN number of the car on the paperwork. And that is a super, super, super critical thing that the Spanish authorities need to have, that ties the importation off the ship to this particular piece of furniture, because the piece of furniture has a serial number. Anyway, if you're a fan of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the closest parallel I can say is that the Spanish authorities of every aspect, the visa handling, the property rental and sale market and management, and the car importation system, they're Vogons. That's the only way I can explain it. And if you've read the book, you will know all you want to know about Vogons. I'll include a piece of Douglas's writing that explains it well. But the most important thing is, when you're dealing with Vogons, never let them read you their poetry. And I will try to avoid that at the inspection station. Well, I tried to put a little clip of the BBC TV show of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but YouTube said it would be entirely blocked. So I've had to remove it, and I'll just put in a little picture and my apologies for not being able to bring that to you. So just go ahead and read the book. Okay, Mr. Grua is here, and now we put it on here and we're going to the station. Okay, inspection is done. We're going into the office to find out what the bottom line is. We are now back home. I have really good news. The inspection shop completely signed off on the entire electrical system, no questions asked. I didn't have to explain anything. They had 6 guys all crowded around the car with big smiles. I think they just liked it. And it was so unique. They were like, oh, this is cool. But then in the end, everything was fine. All of my paranoid thoughts for the last year are now totally vaporized. And the bad news is they faulted me on a couple of things, which, fair to them. The goddamn brake lights didn't work, and the rear license plate lights didn't light up. And that's a fuse. They are on the same fuse. And I'm tired of blown fuses in this car. Then the other thing was there were a couple of light issues. The fog light, despite what I was told by just having a switch on the dashboard, those guys said the fog light can only go on when the headlights are on full and the switch is on, which is going to mean a wiring change. But my import guy is going to confirm that tomorrow. And then the other thing was they say the actual brake function of stopping the tires is not good. And that's fair. I mean, I changed the brake fluid in 2009, and they say the handbrake isn't strong enough. And I know that is true. But luckily, the guys at the JM workshop over there, they will be able to fix all the brake issues for me. The fog light, I'm waiting on confirmation whether they will in turn accept it, because this is what we were originally told, or I have to change a wire. Today is Wednesday. It's Wednesday at about 7 p.m. This is going to take a couple of days to resolve. I will start working on the wiring part of getting the lights working, but then we got to wait for a decision on the fog lights, and we got to take the car to the garage to get them to do the brakes. That's And my import guy, Michael, says he can do the rest of the paperwork and get me the title, the license plates, and the insurance, but it's not going to happen by Friday because I got to go back to the inspection station again. And then things have to happen. So I'm thinking middle of next week, maybe a week from now, Wednesday, I may be able to actually drive this car legally in Spain, and I'll drive it slowly up the scenic route back to Barcelona. But I just want to say that I'm beyond relieved that we got the electrical part through, and I have stupid brake lights and brakes are my only problems. And I'll take that 1,000 times a day. And I hope you're having a really good day, because mine was pretty freaking awesome. Well, I've come out to fix the brake light again, and we had a little bit of rain last night. And I'm telling you, it sure washed the atmosphere. Look at that. That is ridiculous. Well, I think I figured out the problem with the brake lights being intermittent is their terminals are incredibly corroded. That's bad. And then inside the connector pins, forget it. They're basically green. It's really hard to see with the bad focus in my camera, but look at that. That's why the brake failed yesterday, but it had worked before. So all I got to do is clean these, and hopefully I have a functioning brake light. I managed to find a garage in town that could sneak me in this afternoon. And once I showed the guys what was going on with the car, they were all excited and happy to be working on it. So he's in there adjusting the nuts that control the tension on the emergency brake cables that go to each rear wheel. So the one guy seems to really know what he's doing, and he's teaching this guy how to do it. So he'll make the adjustments, and then they'll check it again at the end. So I'm really relieved that I can get this one checked off the list. All right, they were able to adjust the tension on this side. This part of the emergency brake works, but this one is not working up in here. Need to completely replace this unit, because no matter how hard they try, it will not squeeze on hard enough. So I get to order a new set of this, and then their next available appointment, today's Friday, the next one they have is Wednesday, which will probably be around when the parts show up. All right, I'm on my way home from the brake guys, and I thought I would stop and try my first European charge. Now this is an Iberdrola charger network, and I have a membership to this, and this is my little plug right here, not the fast DC chargers. So let me figure out how it works, and we'll attempt to charge. Well, I got authorized, I plugged it in, and we are now charging at 3 kilowatts, which is exactly what my charger is supposed to accept. Happy little charger. I didn't bring the laptop to actually watch the charge happening, but we'll see. Looking good. Hey, I forgot I had a version of my app running on my Android phone here, and that's all good news, because it says charging is lit up in green and we're getting negative 19 amps, which means it's charging at 19 amps because power is going back into the battery. Okay, it's Saturday. I got timed out of my first apartment because somebody's booked in starting on Sunday. So I just moved over here with the same management lady. She was really sweet and found me a new place, and I really like it. It's well equipped. Another stroke of good luck. The Mercadona grocery store that is right there. This is the underground parking. My apartment is right there on the other side of this wall, basically. They've got 6 EV chargers in the basement, which is really good for me because it won't attract the police's attention. And we are charging. Set it up on the app. Charger is blinking. The Mercadona, or the Iberdrola app says we're putting charge in the car, and that's very, very, very positive, because I'd be like dead meat without this working. Okay, going to get something cold to drink while I wait. Okay, I'm at the workshop. It is Thursday around noon. He told me he would bring their flatbed, their grua, to come and pick up the car from the apartment and bring it here to the workshop. But then he showed up in this van and said, just follow me, the police are fine. And it's like, oh. But anyway, so they've got it. The one really good mechanic knows how to power it up. They'll fix the brakes, and he says he'll contact me on WhatsApp this afternoon after it's done. And I just hope that they get everything figured out and it works. And then we can take it to the testing station tomorrow. All right, I'm sitting in an Irish pub waiting for the brakes to get fixed. And I have to trust them that they know what they're doing. I really want to be there watching every bit of it, but I'm walking along the cliff face along here. Really beautiful scenery. So I'll just head that way and then loop back around at the end. Well, it's the next day. It's Friday afternoon, and I went to the beach instead of going to the inspection station because the tow truck man isn't available. All day. Not available. Today's Friday. Nobody works on Saturday. Nobody works on Sunday. So we're going to go to the station on Monday late afternoon at 4 o'clock. So I get to be here for almost 4 full days doing nothing with the car, burning money, burning time. And I'm hoping that we pass on Monday, and then the registration insurance comes through quickly and I can make my way back to Barcelona, because I've already got a friend arriving on Wednesday and I'm not going to be there. And another thing I've already decided, which is not going to help me on this trip getting home, is I'm going to get another Thunderstruck 3 kilowatt charger mounted up underneath the battery box, because I have no physical space left. Wire it in parallel to the charging port and the DC output port to the battery pack. And then there's a data cable that goes between the two of them so they can communicate during charging. That'll give me 6 kilowatts worth of charging power, which will reduce my charging time from ridiculous to just slow. I should have thought about that earlier on, but real world really kicks you in the butt sometimes. The grua just arrived for our second and hopefully last trip to the station. Okay, the grua just dropped me off. We went, he picked me up. He was an hour and a half late. No discount. Drove to the inspection station, met Michael there. Went through the test. The guy took a look at the lights. Lights are good. Took a look at the brakes. Brakes are good. And that means we passed. We passed. Can you believe this? It's a major award. We passed after all of this. But here's the kicker. I always say in life, there's one thing called the final insult, right? No matter what happens, there's always some little thing. You'll never guess what it is. The guy said the fog light. And we said, what about the fog light? He says, this car cannot have a fog light. He said, because this car didn't originally come with a rear fog light, and Porsche didn't put rear fog lights on their cars until 1999, this car cannot have a fog light. But he let us drive away with it and said, just fix the wire later. Can you believe that? We got 3 different answers about that light. So I'll do that. But just my level of frustration. Now, how do I get it home? I initially thought, hey, I have a working car. Let's just drive it up the coast and have a nice, enjoyable vacation along the seashore. Well, I did the math. Because of the capacity of the battery, the length of the charging cycle and the fact that I don't really trust it not to just roll to a stop on the side of the road with no clue as to what needs to be fixed, I decided to abandon the plan of driving it home. I'm going to have the guy, the grua, who actually brought it from Valencia to this town, I'm going to have him drive it back up to Barcelona. I'm going to check out of my apartment here tomorrow morning, get on the bus, which takes me to the train, which takes me home to Barcelona. The car will arrive at some point later. That just gets me home easier. I have a guest arriving on Wednesday, so that's good timing. Plus, I would have had to wait here even more days for the registration to go through, the license plates to go through, and the insurance to be issued before I could even drive away. And I'm looking at another week for that. Easy. So I thought, no, bag it. Let's just go home and we'll wait for the car to be delivered, and then we can safely drive her around the city in the lap of luxury with knowing we're not going too far from home. All right, so I got to start packing. I'm going to load the car up with all the tools and everything that came over on the ship, plus the tools that I brought down with me from Barcelona. And I'll just go home with my backpack. All right, I'll catch you up in Barcelona when the car gets delivered. Well, Diego is here. Car's on his truck, and we're about to pull away to drive home to Barcelona. It's our first stop, about 2.5 hours into the trip. Picking up some dinosaur juice, which I hate, but hey, that's the way the world works right now. But we get to change it. And around the other side of the snack shop, they at least have a dual CCS charger, fast DC charger, 150 kilowatts. That'll get you down the road a little bit. It's actually a pretty nice rest stop on the side of the highway. You can see the ocean through there. We're following the highway as it hugs the coastline going north. All right, we're about an hour and a half from Barcelona. Stopped for more diesel on the way. Nice little rest stop, but no ATM. I have to hit an ATM at some point to be able to pay this guy. Well, here we are. The day I thought I would never see. This car parked in this space underneath my apartment in Barcelona. I just can't believe that it's all done and done. All I have to do is wait for some stuff to show up in the mail, and then we are good for driving around the city. The final insult came. I had to wait for an hour because the police had blocked off my street for Formula One celebrations. And even though I told them that all I had to do was drive down and park, they wouldn't let me go through. So I had to find a parking space and wait for an hour. And I talked with at least 6 groups of people who walked past and were very interested in the car. So I think that's going to be a common thing. Anyway, I'm going to go upstairs and find something cold to drink and celebrate. Thank you for coming along for the ride. Next video, some good driving shots around the city. Before we wrap up, I'd like to thank my Patreons and YouTube members, Peter Bouvier, Puppy, and Craig, for their ongoing support. I see that a whopping 96% of my viewers are not subscribers. So please go ahead and click that subscribe button because it really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Thanks and take care, and I'll see you in the next video.